Um, Welcome. Thanks for joining us, everyone. We're happy to have you, and we look forward to sharing with Ed McKenna from Colette Tours regarding our New York City trip called Spotlight on New York City Holiday for this December 12th through the 16th, 2023. So we look forward to any thing that Ed can tell us about this particular trip, as well as questions and answers at the end. Please be reminded that this is all recorded, and so at any point you can share it with other folks you know around the world, and they too can see it from wherever they are. Also, keep in mind, Ed will give you a little bit about the background of Colette and their history and their phenomenal refund policy. So Ed, thank you for being with us today. We look forward to your presentation.
My pleasure. Is this the end of this year that we're doing this one, Lois?
Yes, sir.
All right,
This is my birthday present to myself. Did you hear that?
All right, happy birthday, Lois.
This is how I'm going to be 70.
All right.
COVID
Congrats.
permitting.
All right, well, thank you so much, Lois, for inviting me. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And my name's Ed McKenna, and I'm with Colette Vacations, and I'm going to share a brief bit of information about myself and the company, and then more specifically about this awesome New York City holiday program. So just a little bit about me. I live here in South Lyon with Lois, and I've been with the company for 32 years. This is my family. We love to travel, and it's why I do what I do. And the other thing is, Colette, we're in our 104th anniversary of being in business, and we are one of those companies that you'll see on the Wheel of Fortune, and we were featured there earlier in January, and we've been working with them as partners for a little over 20 years now, so helps build our brand awareness. And this year we have about 130 different packages touching upon all 7 continents, so lots of interesting areas to explore. And there's a big difference between going to visit a place and doing it on your own versus doing it as a guided tour, especially when you look at New York City, with a lot of the things that we have included, like Broadway plays and sightseeing venues, museums, interesting restaurants. Rather than you standing in line to get tickets and then line to get into the venues, they're expecting us. And when we show up, they're ready for us, and we walk right in past those other people in line. So it's really, guided travel is all about making your experience simple, making your experience easy, and that's what it's all about. So with that said, we're going to get right into the New York City holiday program, which is 5 days. And as Lois said, we're going to be celebrating a birthday for her, which is a landmark birthday. So that's very exciting. And we're going to be staying 4 nights, 5 days in New York City at the Sheraton Hotel in Times Square. You've got a great location. And we ranked this one as far as overall activity level as a level 3, where 4 is the highest, meaning the most, activity involved as far as mobility, 1 being the simplest and easiest. And what that means is there is a lot of walking on this tour. We go to some of the breakfast and some to the dinners walking, where that could be anywhere between half to 3/4 of a mile to get there, as well as some of the shows and the entertainment. So we want to make people aware of that up front. And with that said, New York City is the home to over 8.6 million people. It's the most populous city in our country, and it consists of 5 different neighborhoods. You've got Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, the Bronx, and Staten Island area. And as I mentioned, you're going to be settling into your hotel located right in the heart of the city, the Sheraton Times Square. So the next day, we're going to start off with a breakfast at the Ellen's Stardust Diner, which is a 50s themed restaurant with the singing wait staff. And it was opened in 1987. And most of the people that sing there usually end up in Broadway or off Broadway. They're right there in New York City. So then we give you a little bit of leisure time to enjoy the city on your own for a little bit. And we're also going to have a locally guided tour of the city, including some interesting things for you as well. So on the guided tour part of it, we're going to do what they refer to as a panoramic city tour. So you're going to see the Empire State Building. You're not going to actually go into the building, but you're going to be able to see it from where we're at. You're going to walk the streets of Greenwich Village, one of the more iconic Manhattan neighborhoods, really known for attracting, the creative people, the people in the arts, the writers, the artists, the musicians. This is a big hub for them. We're going to get you down to Wall Street, the nation's big financial hub. And the remainder of the afternoon after the city tour is at your leisure. So you may want to go back and do some skating at Rockefeller Central, or you may want to stand in front of the big Christmas tree there at Rockefeller Center and kind of walk along the streets of Fifth Avenue with all the elaborate holiday window displays that they're so well known for during this time of year. And then after dinner at a local restaurant, you're going to go in for real holiday treats. We're going to venture into Radio City Music Hall. You'll have that spectacular Christmas show featuring the high-kicking Rockettes. And they've been doing this since 1933. And at the end, you see the iconic wooden soldier fall, which is a big part of this overall iconic act. The next day begins with breakfast at a local eatery. Then you're going to board a ferry and head on a cruise over to New York Harbor. And here we're going to dock up close to the Statue of Liberty, who it was a real big symbol in welcoming immigrants into the harbor since 1886, which was shortly right after the Civil War had started, and was created as a token of friendship between the US and the French. And it's become this global symbol of freedom. And the Copper Monument was built by Gustave Eiffel. So if that name sounds familiar, he was also the person who built the Eiffel Tower. From there, we're going to continue on to Ellis Island. And this is where we're kind of stepping back in time. You have a self-guided tour of the museum, and it was open to immigrants in 1892, and then was converted into a museum in 1990. So it actually allowed people in there for 32 years. And during that period, 12 million people passed through the doors there and had to go through a series of tests to make sure they didn't have disease. They had to make sure that they had enough money to get them through a couple of days. And they also had to have somebody expecting them and a place to go when they arrived. Otherwise, they would be sent back. And eventually this site closed for the immigration in 1954. Now, my grandfather came over as an 18-year-old boy from Slovenia, and he was, he had lost some brothers over there during the war. And he was I went to here at Ellis Island. I was able to research that he was in one of the cargo or the bottom level of the ship, and then eventually came over, and eventually from there went into right at suburb of Pittsburgh, where he eventually married, and of course my mom was born, and that's where they settled in. So that all started right here in Ellis Island. Then you've got some leisure time to partake in New York's fabulous holiday shopping at the department stores. The iconic ones are Macy's, Bloomingdale's, Saks Fifth Avenue, and of course, everything, the entire streets are really decorated up with the lights. So at nighttime, the place really takes on its own personality. Now, we do offer an optional tour to Greenwich Village. It's a walking tour with dinner included. It lasts for about 4 hours. It's $90. And what you'll do is You'll board the subway, take it to Greenwich Village with a guide. You'll emerge from the station into the galleries, into some of the museums, some of the trendy restaurants, and the local guide will get you to know the artsy, cultural, eclectic architecture that's kind of defined the neighborhood there, and the specialty shops. And then you're going to be treated to a sit-down, family-style, traditional Italian dinner at one of the local restaurants. And of course, you've got the tasty appetizers, the main course, and they have the dessert as the Rocco's cannoli. And then you before returning to the subway for your ride back to Midtown. All right. So that option does have to be purchased in advance, so with your final payment. Then we're going to take you to the 9/11 Memorial and take a self-guided tour of the 9/11 Museum. And the twin memorial pools are surrounded by bronze structures, which are engraved with all the names of the people that passed away during that event. So then in the afternoon, we've got this exhilarating Times Square visit where you're going to take your seat at an included Broadway show. So you'll choose from a selection of Broadway's biggest hits. After the show, you'll say farewell to the city of New York. But I want to let you know that some of the shows that folks have seen here are such iconic shows such as Phantom of the Opera, Jersey Boys, Kinky Boots, Chicago, the Carole King musical, Beautiful. Now, the way this works, the matinee Broadway performance, you'll be provided with a selection of shows to choose from right about 80 days prior from departure. So we'll probably be sending that out to Lois right around 2.5 months prior to departure. So you're looking at probably right around the end of September, early part of October. We'll be sending you a list, Lois, of the shows to choose from, and you can send it out to folks and let them pick which shows they want. And then we just need to know at 50 days prior to departure, which show you're gonna partake. Once you choose your show though, unfortunately changes cannot be allowed because we make a commitment to the theaters. Once the choices are made, those are set in stone. So it gives you some flexibility though to choose the shows that you want. And that is our great New York City holiday tour. It's a great time to be out there. It's just such a lively spot. I've got a little video here for you.
Is there any sound to that?
Yeah, I've got it turned up as high as it can, but sometimes it doesn't work.
Yeah, there's no sound.
All right. And then this not only includes round trip air, but we're going to pick you up at some pre-designated places that Lois will let you know where that'll be. And if you'd like to fly out a little earlier than the group, like a little bit later than the group, we can assist you with that. And we have the travel protection or the travel insurance that we're able to offer, which is $199 per person. And that allows you the chance, if you had to cancel for any reason, right up to the day prior to departure. So bad hair day, volcano in South Lyon. Really, you don't need a reason at all. You just let Lois know, I'm sorry, I can't go. And you get a complete refund, less, of course, the cost of the insurance. So it's kind of like car insurance and home insurance. We hope we never need it, but that one time that we do, we're really glad that we have it. And our insurance has been mentioned in the New York Times and the USA Today as one of the most comprehensive in the industry, but also one of the most competitively priced as well. So we hope we never need it, but that one time you do, you're really glad that you've got it. We also have a loyalty program. So if your second trip with us was within 12 months of the previous trip, you receive a $150 loyalty discount. If your second trip with us isn't until 13 to 24 months from the previous trip, then it's a $100 loyalty discount. So that's our way of saying thank you for traveling with us, and please keep us in mind for your next trip. The good news about New York City, you don't need a passport and you do not need a visa, okay? I'm also taking this opportunity to let everyone know that to fly domestically, starting on May 3rd of next year, you will need to have that little star on your identification. And in order to get that on your license or your state issued ID, you'll need either a birth certificate or a passport valid, okay? And if you're interested in signing up, you can fill out a form and send that to Lois. Also, if you have your cell phone with your camera, you can take a picture here. I have the link there, gateway.gocollette.com/link 1099-051. If you put that in your browser, that'll pull up the itinerary and the sign up now button. Or if you have your phone on you right now, you can take a picture of that QR code in the upper right hand corner. That will pull up the itinerary for you and the sign up now button, and you can sign up that way. It'll take you about 10 minutes to go through that process, but it'll get you all signed up. To save your spot on the tour, it's a $600 deposit. And along with that, we would need your insurance of $199. So $799 per person will save your spot on this trip. You can sign up early while we have the few spots that we do. And that way you can still change your mind and cancel up until July 12th and get your deposit and your insurance back. And we are holding the space for Village Travelers up until July 12th. After that, we'll be opening up to the mass market. So to go to New York City, staying in the heart of downtown for 4 nights, 5 days, including meals and sightseeing and your air for $29.99 per person is a very good value. New York is not an inexpensive place at all. So I think we did a great job in negotiating a great experience for you at a great price. And of course, if you have other questions, you can call that number down below and that'll access you to Lois, and she'll get you all signed up or at least get your questions answered for you. So if you have a chance to do this and you've never been to New York City before, I think you'd really enjoy it and you owe it to yourself. And if it doesn't work this time, well, at least thanks for checking out the possibilities. So I'd like to say thank you and open it up to questions anyone may have at this point in time.
I would like to say thank you, Ed, and the fact that I have reserved 25 spots for Village Travelers to be able to do this. So the final payment for this particular trip is not due until October 12th. So if you're considering your payment process and trying to figure out timing on that, the final payment's not due until October 12th.
Okay. Any other questions, folks?
Oh, she just answered mine.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you again, Lois, for planning this trip with me and for allowing me to present to your friends and audience out there. And I hope everyone has a great, safe day out there.
Can I just ask one question I just thought of, Ed? Do you have any
Absolutely.
idea what the time frame is at Ellis Island stop and the 9/11
Usually it's about an hour to an
museum?
hour
What
and a
kind of
half
time
to
is
2
allotted
hours.
for both those?
I don't have the exact specific, but they usually allow somewhere between an hour to 2 hours in between
For
there.
each of those?
Yeah.
Okay,
And I've done the Ellis Island myself, and that was about what I took as a self-guided tour. And that was even going back and then researching my grandfather as well. So,
yeah, I've done both of those. We did them our last trip that I custom designed. And I'm just, I would like to provide folks a link to be able to do that ancestry ahead of time, the prep, so that they are ready to go and move on it then when they get there. So I appreciate you sharing about that.
yeah, it helps. And it's interesting because then you can bring back your research. It
for this
shows where they
particular-
signed and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, so for this particular trip, we would have 2 stops, 2 pickups again. So we would have the Metro bus come out here to the west, somewhere for a pickup, as well as Dearborn.
Yep.
Okay, any
Awesome.
last minute thoughts or questions, anybody, comments? Well, thank you very much, and thank you, everybody, for attending, and be safe.
Yes. Thanks so much, Lois. Have a great day, everybody.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
So Donna, can you stay on or no?